We're all scared of death, but I'm somewhat of an extreme case. Death terrifies me. It's on my mind an unhealthy amount. So after years of anxiety, it's time for a new approach. Over the next few weeks, I'm getting up close to death to find out how we can come to terms with what's waiting for us all.
You finally have the knowledge, this is how you will die.
Probably going to make sure I've got a little sash of pills somewhere.
What I could see was a tunnel of white light.
Stop 1, Las Vegas. Okay. And a convention for people who are trying to find a cure for death.
The most powerful thing that we can do is end aging and death, because it's our worst enemy.
RAADfest is an annual gathering of scientists, activists and thinkers with one common goal: to radically extend the human lifespan. I don't know what to expect. What should I expect from the weekend?
It's a little bit extreme.
Yeah?
It's radical. It's not just like we're getting a little bit healthier.
Yeah.
No, we're not. We're just not going to age. It's just not going to do it.
Okay. To an outsider, just not aging sounds a bit far-fetched. But to RAADfest's founders, that's just a defeatist mindset which holds us back.
Bernie and I are about being unstoppable, and we're blessed. I'm very grateful to be here with all of you tonight.
I'm going for that I don't have an end. Right on. That's the way I feel. I'm going all the way.
We have this dream of actually curing aging and death, and I'd have to face this terrible enemy anymore. I'm already there. I'm already there. I'm already physically immortal. We're going to turn this world upside down.
Exactly.
We're going to turn this world upside down.
To come in, first night, first talk, and both of them just be like, we're not going to die, and neither are any of you. It's definitely set the tone for what should be an interesting weekend. Key takeaways so far: it's quite an old crowd that's very keen on eternal life. But is any of this realistic, or just an exercise in self-delusion? And what is it that's driving their wish to live forever? Really nice to meet you both. Do we sit? This might be an inappropriate question. Are you two together, or are you business partners?
No, nothing's inappropriate. No,
Right.
no, we're business partners. I think she's very sexy, though.
Can't disagree with that.
I hope so. I mean,
In your presentation last night, you spoke about your philosophy of going the whole way.
yes.
What does
going
that
all the way.
mean?
I just not closing the door on my staying around alive. I think it's so right on for the human body not to die.
Because people are so programmed to death, and that death is inevitable. And therefore, we don't really value human life like we even should. We don't value our own bodies. We create all kinds of, I call them coping mechanisms to justify death, to make death more palatable. And we think the most powerful thing that we can do is end aging and death, because it's our worst enemy.
I thought you were going to say it was like a kind of state of mind thing, but it is actually about not dying.
No, it's not a state of mind.
You can't think this. You can't, we're not going to bring about the ending of aging and death, just thinking about it.
No. It's actually a moral issue. I think people who support death still and say it's right, I think it's immoral. I think it's immoral to support a world that is suffers from disease and aging. We have to do something about it. The moral thing to do is to help change that.
Safe to say that Bernie and James are on the extreme end of the anti-death spectrum. But what about RAADfest's guests? Do they share this belief that we can live forever? Hi. So what's your name?
Michelle.
Michelle, I'm Leah. And what is it about the life extension movement that you like?
I love it because I feel that we can rejuvenate, we can reverse age. I want to live forever, but feeling good.
Robert Green.
Robert, nice to meet you.
Hi Leah, I'm Simbai.
Simbai.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Although this doesn't say so.
It says Stephen.
Yes.
Right. Some people would say, isn't aging just a natural part of life? Isn't it just what happens?
Yes, but the Earth was flat at one time.
That's right.
And the back in the Middle Ages, I guess, we were geocentric. We thought the Earth was in the center of the world. Aging is not normal or not natural. Now let's do something about it. So that's why we're here.
I can see how the older you get, the more you might want to believe that death is avoidable. And at RAADfest, there's no shortage of salespeople claiming that their product will help. So can a day of wellness therapy turn back my biological clock? Yeah.
Cheryl? Okay, so everybody that I've taken your name, I'm going to ask you to wait around the corner so we can open up this walkway. So this is the exam or the testing portion of the longitudinal study. Dr. Watson's ready for you right now. We're testing for lifestyle factors, blood biomarkers, cognitive factors.
Okay, so I'm tapping as soon as I hear the sound.
We're testing for body composition, your visceral fat, your muscle mass.
So that's pretty good, but you want to be farther on the right end of the scale.
Yes, I'm too fat.
Let's see.
I'm Rudy Hoffman. I'm doing life insurance to fund the cost of cryogenic or cryonic suspension or preservation. So cryonics basically is people being frozen immediately upon pronouncement of legal death with the idea that a future technology can fix us.
The mistake most people make is you're going after the muscle. No, it's the fascia that controls the muscle, not the muscle controlling the fascia.
This is about sound healing, so it's working with precise frequencies.
Sorry. I feel so weird. I've had so many treatments. I feel like I've been poked and prodded and I actually feel different. I do feel different, but I don't know if it's good different or if I just feel a bit nuts. How old do I feel? I feel about 30. To actually reverse aging, we'll need some serious science. And for that, there's anti-aging guru Aubrey de Grey, who thinks his work will soon see humans living for hundreds of years.
There it is.
Oh.
I try to make sure that people understand that this is both the most important crusade of humanity and also that it's a plausible crusade that has a respectable chance of success in the foreseeable future.
What can, if anything, a normal person like me do to live longer and healthier?
You're doing something quite important for that right this moment by interviewing me, because the fact is that the thing that will matter the most for you is not what you can do today to your own body, but rather how soon the work that I do comes along, whether or not it comes along in time for you, in other words.
So the longer you live, the longer we all live?
Well, that's right, yeah.
Okay. Obviously the planet's not in a great nick at the moment, and people are worried that, even the next 100 years, a lot of it's going to become uninhabitable. It sounds like you think that we're going to fix that.
These questions are really, really easy to answer. It just takes zero time to think about the answers. We're inventing all these technologies like, renewable energy and artificial meat and desalination and so on. These things are reducing, and going to be reducing dramatically, the amount of pollution that any given individual generates, which means that we will raise the carrying capacity of the planet.
How long do you think it's going to be until we all are living longer and healthier?
Right, so people, of course, ask me this all the time. And my current guess is that we have a 50-50 chance of getting to a really decisive level with these therapies within about 17 years from now.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah. By my predictions, you've got definitely more than a 50-50 chance of making the cut.
Sounds good to me.
There you go. Rock and roll. Good.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Not everyone at RAADfest is waiting for a scientific breakthrough to save them. And the daily grind of life extension can be quite hard work.
Do I have food in my teeth?
No, you're good.
Oh, good.
So what do you do day to day to keep yourself healthy?
I don't drink. I don't smoke. I eat organic, mostly vegetarian. I take about 50 life extension supplements a day. You should have omega-3, but not necessarily omega-6, right?
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So most nuts have more omega-6 than omega-3.
Oh, I eat nuts.
Okay, but what
Should
kind
I
of nuts do you eat?
Almonds, cashews.
Okay, so would you like me to show you this chart? It's going to blow your mind.
Sure.
my purse here. Look at this. This is what caused me to learn about it right here.
You know, what does omega-6 do?
I think it's like the ratio that can predict dementia. Right here. Look at this. Almonds. 2,000 of omega-6 to 1 of omega-3. Oh. Even though you and I thought they were really good.
Yeah.
Not.
Oh. You know, all of this information, like you're obviously learning so much and changing the way you behave, but it's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Can you kind of understand when people can't be bothered with this stuff?
But,
you don't know what's good for you.
What are they doing that's more important?
I guess.
I know what they're doing. They're watching television.
Yeah.
Right? Is that more important than this? No.
I'm just like, man, I was trying to be healthy by eating almonds, and now I can't eat almonds.
You're healthy because you're young.
Yeah.
And you're at a longevity concert. You notice most people that are here are not young.
I have noticed that.
We're older and we're a little bit concerned, if not scared.
What is it that you think people are scared of?
Well, I think when you see someone who can't walk, or who's wheelchair ridden, or who can't think, or who's obviously demented, or has terrible chronic disease, or is a cardiac cripple, and they have the same chronologic age as you do, then you say, whoa, baby, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to give up what I've got, right? Because the old saying about youth is wasted on the young, because you don't appreciate it, because you've never had anything else, right?
Yeah. I'm starting to get that this isn't about omega-6 or biological markers or cryogenic freezing. What's brought these people here is a lot simpler than that.
It's not fun to look at death. It's sad when you have loved ones or friends or whoever die. It's not nice. I think there needs to be an end to death. It brings a lot of pain to people.
Why should I give up? There's nothing pretty about death. Nothing.
Nothing at all. Just keep on living and feeling and loving and caring. I don't want to die. I don't ever want to die.
So the weekend is done, and it has been a very weird weekend. But as someone who has always been really, really scared of death, I actually think that what's weirder is not just acknowledging that death is really sad and quite scary. It's definitely not a movement for everyone, but I think what is at its core is just a wish to get the most you can out of life. And to me, there's nothing crazy about that. I really hope you enjoyed episode 1 of Deathland. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or thoughts, and I will try and get back to you. Episode 2 is very different. I'm spending the day with a doctor whose whole life revolves around death and finding out how her patients contend with the end of their lives. If you don't want to miss it, then click subscribe now.